I actually wanted to take a minute today to talk about something on the vlog that I haven't spoken about. Um, it's getting to be summertime, and like me, I'm sure a lot of you people are going to go out and go camping, fishing, and all the cool outdoor stuff that we get to do around here, and all over the country for that matter. One thing you need to think about this year and pay attention to. I know you probably do every year, and you think, oh, we do all that stuff already. But you need to pay attention to ticks this year. There's a lot of stuff going on with ticks nowadays. They've always been a nuisance, and they've always been, a pain to deal with. But there's something going on now with ticks that's, I think, even more prevalent. There's a sickness that I actually suffer from called alpha gal syndrome. You can Google it, and it's something you've probably heard of, and maybe weren't sure if it was real or not. Um, but it actually causes you to be allergic to beef and pork. Actually, it causes you to be allergic to any mammal that can be bit by ticks. So if you're a hunter and you hunt deer and squirrel and rabbit and all this stuff, you can't eat that anymore if you get bit by this tick. I'm going to try to put up a photo here of what they look like. The Lone Star tick carries the alpha gal sickness. Um, the good thing is it's not a permanent allergy, supposedly. I've had it, we think, since about 2000. It's not really, we're not really sure exactly when it started, but I've traced symptoms back as far as almost 17 years ago. Um, the problem is, as the allergy can start to go away, if you get bitten by ticks again, it can ramp back up. I'm actually in a state right now where I don't actually try to eat things anymore to see if it's gone away, um, because I've done without beef and pork and all these things for so long. I just really don't want it anymore. Um, I'm happy with fish and birds. So, uh, and honestly, it's kind of a blessing curse situation. Um, I obviously don't need to be eating steaks and pork chops and bacon. So, it's kind of, that's how I look at it, as more of a glass half full situation. Um, it's just forcing me to eat better anyway. And luckily, I'm a big sushi fanatic, if you haven't noticed from the earlier vlogs. But yeah, just pay attention. There's a lot of really good resources online that you can find about if you get a tick, how to safely remove it. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on YouTube. I've just been through this for a really long time, and I know I've got a lot of friends now that have the same thing, and we've gone through learning. Everybody's pretty much gone through learning together, because this has been a new situation. The alpha gal allergy is actually an allergy to a sugar complex. It's not a protein allergy like peanuts and things of that nature. So, with it being an allergy to a sugar complex, this has never been seen before. And not only that, the sugar complex is actually stored in the fat of the animal you're eating. It can take your body 3 to 6 hours to start breaking this down. So you can eat a steak dinner at 6 o'clock at night and be like, oh, I'm fine. And you could wake up at midnight and be having an anaphylactic reaction and not know where it came from. So it's a tricky allergy. It's very slow to come on. And that makes it harder to diagnose. Um, to my knowledge, you can't diagnose it with a skin test. I actually tested negative for beef allergy, because I'm not actually technically allergic to the beef. I'm allergic to the sugar complex that's being generated by the animal that's been bit by the tick. So it's just a very complicated allergy. Um, the good thing is, like I said, it can wane over time. I've got friends of mine that have had it, and now they've avoided ticks, and they've slowly been able to eat some pork and beef again. In theory, you can eat lamb, because lamb is imported from New Zealand, and there are no ticks in New Zealand. So in theory, although I've never tested this theory, you should be able to eat lamb chops in the United States, but I've never attempted that. Um, if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to post them in the comments below. Um, There's a lot of good resources out there. There's a lot of things you wouldn't think about that can cause you to have a reaction if your levels get bad. My levels were so high that if I went to Subway and they cut a roast beef sandwich and they cut my sandwich, I would have an anaphylactic reaction. For a long period of time, we couldn't go out to eat because I couldn't have anything cooked on the same grill. I'm way better than that now. As you've noticed, I pretty much eat anywhere I want to. But there was a phase where I went about almost 18 months completely vegan, and they think during that stage, and I was also lucky enough to avoid ticks in that time, that it may have flushed out of my system. But like I said, I don't tempt it. It's not worth it to me to try to eat anything. I don't really miss anything anymore. It is a little hard though sometimes, I'll admit. In the summertime I start smelling grills firing up, because I went from being the guy that had the grill that never got cold to not owning a grill. Although I did get a grill and a smoker for Christmas and an air fryer, so I think that means everybody wants me to start cooking again. So I guess I'll have to get on that. I'll have to be at home first though, instead of at work all the time. Maybe I'll just bring my grills here to work and I'll just cook here. But it's really something you have to look at, I think, as a blessing curse situation, because at first it's a lifestyle. It's a massive lifestyle change. It's a massive adjustment. And I know it's still difficult for my wife to even think, oh, let me cook. Well, what am I going to cook? What can I make? It was a big change for everybody. And I didn't really want it to affect them. I didn't want it to affect what they ate and everything. But it's really difficult, when you're cooking for everybody in the house and making stuff, or I want to go somewhere to consider everything. So it's a real challenge. But just wanted to get that out there, talk about it, and get some awareness going. And thanks for watching.